a very cool afternoon here in Sheffield, but the Danes know that they have to be pretty hot out on the pitch. They've got to go for goals. The only way they can qualify for the quarter-finals is by defeating Turkey this afternoon in this final game in Group D, and hope that Croatia defeat Portugal. The Turks are in white today. Here is Abdullah for them. He's worked an opening for a crossing position very well, and he wins the corner too. And Turkey will commit half a dozen people around the edge of the Danish penalty area here, and if Turkey were to score first, that really would put the cat among the pigeons for Denmark. And it's good Turkish possession. Orhan now, edge of the area. The shot cracked in against the ankles of a defender. Orhan, one of those brought into the side. Here is another one, Ami. Vedat. Now he's captain Recep. Forward for Ogun. And I don't think Denmark have been inside Turkey's half as yet. And it's Turkey who move forward again. They're not short on confidence. Their coach reckons that they've just suffered from misfortune so far, and now Denmark do have the ball and they do move forward. Only to concede possession rapidly. This is Abdullah, and offside. Denmark have made a couple of changes from the side so decisively beaten by Croatia. They've brought in the Rangers striker, Erik Boanison, and in midfield they've chosen Alan Nielsen, the Brøndby player. They have to get goals today. And it's lifted over there towards Schoenberg and headed across the face of his own penalty area. Nice cushioned header from Abdullah. And it's Abdullah who makes tracks down the left, but it didn't find him. Who? Mark Rieper. Well, the Danes will be patient, even though they know they have to go for goals today. Even 3-0 might not be enough. Everything depends on that Croatia-Portugal result. Rushdu with a clearance, one of the Fenerbahce players in this Turkish side, which is drawn from only 5 club teams in Turkey. And from Orhan, straight out of play. This is who? Laudrup couldn't control it, but it is picked up now from Boanison. Abdullah for Turkey. One blonde head in this Turkish side, and it's hit a delightful looking ball over there, but it was covered by Thompson. In high towards Hakan. It's a very disappointing crowd, it's got to be said, today at Hillsborough, for a match that was reputedly a sellout. May well have been, but particularly a lot of the Turkish supporters have gone home early with their side unable to qualify. see the banking behind the goal defended by Turkey. It's covered in red and white, so the Danes are still here. Well, there's been considerable disappointment for the European champions of 4 years ago after that defeat by Croatia, which was so emphatic. Now they've all on to stay in. Guy, and again he'll be involved. Typhoon just too far ahead of him though. But the Danes' passing game not quite on as yet. Here goes Nielsen though, and there's space down the left, and the keeper from his line very sharply with Laudrup coming in on him. Anticipation shown by Rushdu. Now Michael Laudrup, good ball inside here for Alan Nielsen. 2 Laudrups, 2 Nielsens in the Danish side today. Now Brian Laudrup can attack from this sort of position, and so adept, so dangerous. 2 in the middle, one is Nielsen, one is Bo Anderson. And this is better from Denmark, and that's slipped through. Offside given against Alan Nielsen, and that was controversial to say the least. I thought he'd held his position well here, but the lines were probably just about right. Russian officials today. So we've got a Russian linesman here. They don't just operate at Wembley in '66. Good header from Hakan, but straight to Schmeichel. Reaper, the West Ham United defender now. To Michael Laudrup, who will shortly be playing his football in Japan with Kobe. That's nicely done. Found his brother Brian here in a useful attacking position. Lovely skill, Brian Laudrup, and there is the cross just behind. He'll be disappointed. He can do much better than that. Brian Laudrup did the hard part well here, kidding the defender, foxed his way outside Orhan, and then curled the cross behind. This is Yasu, who plays his football in Turkey with Fenerbahce, so he's a club colleague of Rushdu's, the goalkeepers, and Typhoon, the midfield player. Reaper forward. Nielsen now, good turn from the blonde-headed figure of Alan Nielsen. Abdullah for Turkey, it's a poor pass. Well, the ball deliberately put out because one of the Turkish players, as you see, number 4, Vedat, is already cropped. And will certainly require treatment, will he? Oh, the referee, sure he's going to allow that. Well, he's convinced that Vedat's okay. Vedat, who plays for the Karabük club in Turkey, a second division side. Up high for Schönberg. Well, Anderson coming in behind the defender Ogun forces him to play the ball straight out. Well, Denmark could really do with an early goal just to get the feel that they might still have a chance here. They do have a free kick. This in a good position for them. And Schönberg, one of the taller men, will be in the centre to try and get on the end of this. Laudrup joined over there by Brian Stein-Nielsen. And it will be Nielsen. 5 Danes in the centre, and here is one of the Reaper. We've got a clear header in, but couldn't direct it. Well, Mark Reaper got a couple of goals for West Ham last season, and he could have settled Danish nerves here. Useful cross, and he found position well. A poor header. Richard Muller-Nielsen. This could be his last game in charge because he's taking over Finland at the end of Euro 96. The foot was too high for the liking of Mr. Levnikov, the Russian referee. Who? Now, Helvig. It's a good counter from Turkey, led by Orhan here, who is a left-sided player who's come back from a broken leg. Thomas Helvig. This is typical Danish football, the patient build-up, the ball caressed between the 3 centre-backs, and then knocked longer. Though Anderson couldn't keep it in. The 12 minutes gone, largely without incident. Certainly neither Schmeichel nor Rushtu has been forced into a save. One wonders if the Danes will throw Schmeichel up more than usual if they struggle for goals. So this is long again, too long by the look of it, but the head of Thompson got there. Helvig now. Intelligent run from the back by Orgun. Make the most of it, having got there. Now Schönberg is pressurised, and so is Thompson, and the back pass isn't on. The foul on the Ipswich Town man, Klaus Thompson. That is Orgun winning his 40th cap today, one of the Trabzonspor players in the side. There are 4 of them today, along with 2 from Galatasaray, 2 from Fenerbahce, 2 from Besiktas, and 1 from Karabük. Now Helvig trying to angle it down for Brian Laudrup. The Turks have been pretty well organised in their games, haven't given much away. Single goal defeats by Croatia and by Portugal. Disappointing for them, but certainly no disgrace in their first major finals since the World Cup in 1954. And they play the ball forward nicely too for Tugay to release Abdullah. This is good play from Turkey. Just needs something on the end of it, and that's something they've struggled with so far. And offside again here. Turkey, in common with one or two other countries, have shown a great promising build-up and then nothing at the end of it. Here is Bo Anderson, though, and the goalkeeper off the line. It doesn't matter. There was a push by the striker, to the fury of the Danish fans behind the goal. The free kick is given against their man. Well, did you see a push? I certainly didn't. The game really does need an early goal from Denmark's point of view, preferably from them. This is Orhan, however, and they've let him go. And they really invited him to play the pass out there, which he did, and here comes Hakan, and Schmeichel makes a spectacular diving catch. Well, Hakan has a great goal-scoring record for Turkey, and he was the one that they were aiming for. Schmeichel with those huge pair of hands that hold on to everything. Nicked it in the bud. 16 minutes played. Denmark 0, Turkey 0, and here comes Schönberg, and here comes Anderson, and the corner had to be conceded. It's a great raking ball from Reaper. It's opened up the Turkish defence that time. Festooned in streamers over there, but Laudrup will nick the corner across, and it might come here for Thompson, who spooned it high. Good opening for the Ipswich man, Klaus Thompson, there. He'd manoeuvred plenty of space for himself in there. Laudrup with the clip, and there was the header out, which was handy for Thompson, but he just couldn't keep it down. Orhan. Now Abdullah. Swings the ball across quite dangerously. Recep, who's the captain of Turkey, and is one of those who quite fancies a stint here in England if a club fancies taking him on. Reaper now. Sten Nielsen to Laudrup. Good movement ahead, and again the Russian linesman says offside. That time I don't think there's any dispute. Who gets great distance with his clearances, and this will come down for Hami. Well, they move forward very confidently. This is Alpay, and the shot might be good too. A brilliant save from Schmeichel. That's a terrific stop. He bent the back, he twisted in midair. Orhun here with the shot, and it took the deflection off Thompson, and Schmeichel had to readjust. Super save. He took some blame for the defeat by Croatia. He's generally faultless. Schmeichel continues to excite the fans here at Hillsborough. Well, the Danes have played all 3 games. Laudrup given offside again. The Turks are playing a dangerous game back there against the likes of Brian Laudrup. Here again we see Orhan's shot. It was the deflection that made the save all the more spectacular. Orhan tries to pull away from Thompson. Goalkeeper. Minutes played, and Denmark haven't got that elusive first goal yet. Reaper with another of those piercing long balls, and Schönberg did well. Here goes Laudrup now. Schönberg. Two of them playing keep ball, and Laudrup a thrilling run there, and he might still get something out of this now. All great players have good balance, and Brian Laudrup is no exception. Yasu stepped forward and clattered the ball in the air. Now it's Alan Nielsen, referred today to Kim Vilfort, the hero 4 years ago. Here goes Anderson, gathered in by Rushdu. Well, Anderson certainly looks livelier than Mikael Beck, who started the first game here. Michael Laudrup now. Got out to my help by. And then a mistake here by Thompson. And Hakan's the one through the middle, covering the defender. Helve. Stone Nielsen. Out Helve well, and now Alan Nielsen. Well, changed his mind, I thought, there. Long towards this lonely figure up here, Hakan, who's got no support at all. It's been a lonely battle for him throughout the 3 games. Guy. Abdullah. They're certainly very comfortable on the ball, the Turks, but you just wonder about the penetration or lack of it. It's going to be their downfall. They're still to register a goal in these championships. And they've been playing for 204 minutes. It's at least the 3rd time that Brian Laudrup's been caught offside in the first 24 minutes. Straight to Thompson, though. Stay Nielsen. Turkey have only once beaten Denmark in previous meetings. The Danes are nothing like as impressive as they were 4 years ago, and they'd so little preparation time. But they do have a free kick for that challenge of Oguns, one of the Trabzonspor players. Free kick count to nothing, and that really does enable Turkey to break in numbers. This is Orhan, but he's going it all alone by himself, and good challenge back. He really wasn't very aware there because there was a man, Typhoon, on his left. Helver coming in field to try and get involved in the action a little more. Now he'll drive forward. Oh, and amazingly got a pass in that he'd no right to do, and Laudrup can cross it in here, and here is Helve, and he squares it for Nielsen, and it'll come back for the other Nielsen, and he might have a go from here, and Turkey get bodies in the way. And then break themselves with Tugay. Schoenberg, and there was the push on him. It's all pretty harmless stuff. Denmark not quite desperate, but they do need a goal just to get that feeling that they're still in with a chance. They've hardly been full of optimism in their camp about the outcome of today's game. Schoenberg, the strange first-time cross. There's nobody anywhere near it, no one remotely near, apart from the goalkeeper Rushdu. Nearly fumbled it. Towards Hakan, covered by Reaper. Who delightfully chipped up there for Laudrup, and he finds space amazingly well where none seem to exist. Well, this referee is finding more free kicks than are necessary at the moment. Guy. Recep. It's a lovely, beautiful weighted pass from Recep, but I don't think Hammy was sure just how good it was. Recep to Tugay. To Hakan. A lovely mover. Deliberate build-up from the Turks, though, and that's what happens at the end of it. Nothing. Tugay. Turkey have certainly had as much of the play as Denmark. Vedat. Spare men down the right. Recep's cross will be a simple one for the Danish defence to cope with. Though they contrive to give the ball away again. And here comes Orhan. It's a fair challenge. It's Denmark who need a break, and it's hit up towards Brian Laudrup. and just not getting good possession at the moment. They've certainly not looked capable of scoring 3 goals. Remember, Denmark simply have to win the game. Nothing else will do for them. Morgan's pass didn't find Hakan. Here now goes Bo Anderson. There's a somewhat disconsolate air about one or two of the Danes. They feel as their heads are already dropping, things not going their way. They don't seem to be working hard enough to make it go their way. Half an hour gone, 0-0. Hakan must wish there was somebody to play alongside him. Reaper to Nielsen. Again, they try that long ball over there to Schoenberg. Desperate mistake and a brilliant stop from Rushdu. Schoenberg was given an inkling of hope there where none had seemed possible. But the Turkish goalkeeper was out in a flash to make the stop. And now Turkey themselves come fencing for an opening with Abdullah. Chips it across for Tayfun. Recep. Solid strike. At least he's had a shot on goal. Missed by much either. He gets some appreciation from his colleagues for that. In a moment, see that chance that Schoenberg had. All credit to Rushdu for making the save. The calm goalkeeper lays it long. Reaper now. Michael Laudrup. Movement ahead of him, but just playing these square passes at the moment, the Danes, not making much progress. They've 10 players up inside the Turkish half, but they've not moved a yard forward in the last 30 seconds. Now they do, with Thompson getting up. Brian Laudrup. He'll run at them all day. This is his forte, but they block him well. Orhan, who has looked dangerous, and there's a chance here for the Turks. Orhan, he's well blocked by Yesu. And whose pass is easily intercepted by Abdullah, but again, the final ball from both sides continues to be disappointing. Nielsen. And Michael Laudrup. Schoenberg's wide on the left, and here comes Schoenberg now. A good cross from him, and the Turks are in trouble. It's a little bit long for Anderson. Helveg. Corner. And I think it's only the second they've had. One by the Udinese player. And to be taken by Brian Laudrup. They've got to commit bodies in there, Denmark. It's a Turkish head that scrambles it out. And another disappointing outcome to a set piece. almost a strange air of resignation about Denmark. You feel unless Turkey make a mistake and gift them a goal, they're not going to work too hard for it. All by Tugay. It's there again. Chunky little figure in the Turkish midfield, Tugay, and he puts the ball out because Alan Nielsen's got a bang on the side of the head. He's the Gaza of Denmark, this fella. They say they never know what colour his hair is going to be from one day to the next. Over a third of the way through the game, and Richard Muller-Nielsen still hasn't seen his side create a good opening. Hammy for Turkey. And a bad ball knocked in towards Hakan, just over the top of him. Well, this was the moment where Schönberg had the best opening that's come Denmark's way. Excellent keeping that from Rushdie. She had great anticipation and speed as well. Bit of a squabble between the taller man Schönberg there and Recep. Interesting that Denmark are using Schönberg in that position, hitting these great long balls out towards him in the same way that Norway used Jostein Flo in the World Cup. Schmeichel, first time, clatters it downfield, and Alisson gives chase, and the goalkeeper surely will make the catch, but that was very quick thinking by Schmeichel. Play from Yesu. Now Laudrup just unable to knock it into the gap there for his brother. Denmark try again with Helve. They're feeding off scraps at the moment, Denmark, and not really producing much that's concerted. Now they might with Brian Laudrup's cross in, useful too. Alisson, and he couldn't direct a header. Erik Barnison, a £1.5 million signing by Glasgow Rangers from Aalborg. Should have done better here, really. Brian Laudrup got a goal in the first game when Denmark led Portugal. They only drew that, and then they lost here to Croatia. They're being quite comfortably held by Turkey at the moment. For whom Orhan makes another run. This is Recep. Orhan. Recep continues his run as well, and down he goes, but that's a corner. Recep's made some excellent runs. A bit of penetration down that right side for Turkey. The Danish player down there is Yesu. And the Russian official seems very reticent to allow anybody on the field to give treatment. It's the second time he's refused it. So who has to soldier on? Schönberg, in fact. Schönberg. Corner then for Turkey. Well, it would be calamitous if they scored, and Abdullah almost did for Turkey. parameters for the Danes, that is. And that was a real thump. Terrific crack of the left boot here from Abdullah. Let's see how much it missed by. Schmeichel on his ground, diving across. Good try. Abdullah so far without a goal for his country on his 28th appearance, and that's as close as he's come, I'm sure. Well, it's a shame there aren't many Turkey supporters here who would have enjoyed that, I'm sure. Still plenty here from Denmark. Schmeichel clears over the halfway line. Laudrup tries to get to Anderson through, and again Rushdu shows how quick he is on anticipation. Five minutes to the break. 0-0 the score. Stay Nielsen now. Helveg. Nielsen again in. Here's Alan Nielsen with the shot. Brilliantly kept out, and then the chance spurned by Brian Laudrup. Rushdu has made some inspired interventions. Nielsen's effort there looked destined for the net, possibly with the aid of the deflection. Let's have a look at this. He's in perfect position to strike it well. Alan Nielsen does hit it well too. Comes off the studs of the defender. Rushdu's reaction excellent. And then Laudrup balloons it. He's got Denmark's only goal so far, but that was not one of his better efforts. Here we see it again. The keeper did so well to keep the first effort out. He wasn't troubled by the second one. Brian Laudrup has a dozen goals for his country. It should now have read 13. Very impressed by this goalkeeper from Fenerbahce. He let in only 19 goals in 34 league games last season for his club, and he really has been outstanding in this half. The Danish fans have kept the ball. That was Abdullah's shot just moments earlier. Good try. Ball from Tugay. Now it's Alan Nielsen. And Tugay will be booked for that because he's brought the man down from behind. It's the day's first yellow card. Well, it scarcely matters now for Turkish players because they're going home anyway. Tugay with his first yellow of the tournament. Denmark need their first goal of the day badly. So it's half-time 0-0. They have a big job to do in the second half. Anyway, it's chipped up there by Hu. And they've 2 minutes of actual time to get that first goal. Schönberg has a long throw. Anderson and Reaper will be in there. Denmark desperate for a goal now before half-time. Clearance is from Ogun. The foul is from Thompson. Thompson now, Helveg calling for it in a good position out here on the right, and he gets his head to it, but covering by Alpay again. He's been a good central defender for Turkey. Chance here for Nielsen to pick it up. It's fouled by Vedat. There's hardly been a tackle in anger, to be fair. Long to use the height of Schoenberg, but he was unable to do so against that little fella there, Recep. And now the Turks build through the middle, and there's a lot of white shirts around here. This is Tugay. Just couldn't keep his feet, but let's get it away to Abdullah. Now he is fouled, one number 17 on the other. And Alan Nielsen, who a moment ago came a cropper himself, has given away this free kick. A bit too far out, perhaps, to beat a goalkeeper of Schmeichel's quality. And in the last minute of the half, it's a chance for Turkey to get some reward. I think Hami might run over this and allow Abdullah to come. No, Hami gets the shot in. Real daisy cutter. Swerving away all the time. You just don't beat Schmeichel from there. The Russian referee has a look at his watch. To add on a minute or so, I would have thought. No, he won't. He says we've had enough. It's half-time here at Hillsborough, and it's 0-0, and Denmark are still seeking that elusive first goal. Might give them some belief they can stay here. The second half starts with a substitution apiece. The top striker in Turkey, Hakan, has given way to Arif, which is somewhat surprising, and Denmark have brought on this man, Henrik Larsson, in place of Schoenberg. Henrik Larsson now. It's a rather lazy ball played by Hu, and that enables Turkey to break with Orhan. Slipped wide for Hami, only two in the middle, and they don't have the tall figure of Hakan now after their substitution. Well, there you saw the problem. There was nobody for him to cross the ball to, and consequently, when Turkey lose the ball, they have to find another option. Tugay to Orhan, who's probably going to play through the middle in this half. Swept wide, offside Hami. There's Henrik Larsson, the hero 4 years ago, and there is the Turkish substitute Arif, plays for Galatasaray. Well known to Manchester United supporters, he certainly starred against them a couple of years ago. Stay Nielsen into Michael Laudrup. Seen very little of Michael Laudrup today. Turkey's breakout led by Abdullah. And there might be something here. Laudrup is onside, and the goalkeeper's in a bit of no man's land, but and then he spills the ball, and if Laudrup had kept his eyes on it, there might have been something there for Denmark. sloppy goalkeeping. Had to just fall on the ball, and then he tried to juggle with it. Turkey's turn to come. You really do wonder if they're capable of scoring a goal, though. Because after today, we get into the knockout stages. Fatih Terim, who this is his last match. He leaves the post of Turkish national coach after today. It's rumoured he's going to go to take over at Galatasaray. He's been proud of the way his team has performed, but really they do lack a cutting edge. That there is no question. It's got to be said that the Danes are suffering similarly. With only 1 goal scored in 2.5 matches. Now their captain Laudrup. Anderson easily dispossessed. Nice chip over the top to release Hami. Only 4 men up here now, and Hami, the slip might open the way for him, and he panicked. Well, glory beckoned there for the Trabzonspor player Hami. The slip by the defender who enabled him to have the shot, but he squandered it. The feeling continues that there's not a lot of conviction about these two sides, not a lot of self-belief. Although Anderson's got it through now, and this must be a goal for Laudrup. And Denmark have their goal at last, coming 4 minutes into the second half. It's gone to Brian Laudrup, and again has to go down to goalkeeping error. So Brian Laudrup, who scored against Portugal, scores against Turkey as well. The slip in defence there was by the centre-back Orgun, and Laudrup needed no further invitation. It's as simple a goal as you'll see. And Laudrup, who scored on this ground in Denmark's opening game, scores at Hillsborough again. Well, that really is what the game needed, because it had been desperately disappointing until then. And now the question is, will it increase Danish belief that they can still retain an interest in Euro 96? That was the slip by the defender Orgun that opened the door for Brian Laudrup, and he just said thank you. Now Michael Laudrup. Just saying about neither of the sides having much conviction, but they may have now as Brian Laudrup goes again and creates an opening for Larsen. And it came off the back of the defender, hence the Danish corner. If Denmark could score a second quickly now, they would have some belief in themselves. And hope for Croatia to do the business against Portugal. Laudrup's corner, not a great one, but he'll have another chance. See if he goes for the same ploy. It looks as though he might, because there are 2 Danes come to the near post. It's a little bit long there, and Reaper was there, and it's kept out almost miraculously on the line from Mark Reaper's header. Otherwise, it was definitely 2-0. Well, maybe the Danes have found that self-belief that's been lacking hitherto. Certainly got the crowd banging their drums a little louder. But Abdullah is here for Turkey, plays a good ball through as well. And that was so close with Arif coming in. Schmeichel and Reaper were totally confused, and they could have suffered the consequences. But first of all, let's have a look at this Mark Reaper effort at the other end. He climbs in, he looked a certain scorer. Well beaten away by Rushdu, though. And then at the other end, there was a bit of mayhem when Reaper and Schmeichel were not on the same wavelength. Arif could have got an equaliser. Laudrup, good ball in, here's Nielsen. Right, Rella scored. The Turkish defence is suddenly being prized open. The Danes have found their touch, with the two Laudrups heavily involved. This time it was Michael Laudrup who threaded the ball through the eye of the needle, and it was Alan Nielsen who hoofed it over the top. Nielsen, who scored inside 60 seconds of his international debut against Armenia, his only goal. This is Alpay, the central defender, who will require a stretcher, perhaps. Looks there was some pain on the face of Alpay. And the Turkish coach still has the choice with a number of substitutes. The Danish fans at long last are flying their flags, waving their scarves, and it's a lovely sea of red and white here at Hillsborough, thanks to Brian Laudrup's goal. But Muller Nielsen knows a couple more are needed yet. Is being carried off on a stretcher as the Rolligans, as the Danish fans are known, survey the scene and wonder if they're going to be staying in England a little longer after all. So the Turks playing with 10 men for the moment. And Reaper's head has found a way through to Michael Laudrup. Dispossessed by Tugay. Now it's Abdullah. He's moved in field into a central midfield position in the second half. Arif now. Tugay. Offside given against Arif. He's taking up some intelligent positions, this little fellow from Galatasaray. On the line goes Steve Nielsen. Turkish supporters up as one there, as the referee blew for the foul by Hami on Michael Laudrup. That free kick already taken. Joining in is Helve. Brian Laudrup. Helve have the opportunity to cut in field because the decoy run had been made by Laudrup. Typhoon. And the Danish fans are chanting, "We are the champions," perhaps not for much longer. It's a nice touch from them. They so enjoyed their success 4 years ago against all the odds. They're a goal up here, but Abdullah is brought down. And it's going to be a booking as well for Helve. And I'm sure it was Helve, or was it who? Yes, it was Helve, I'm sure. In which case he will miss the next game because it's his second yellow. Now Abdullah can strike a ball well, as we saw in the first half, and he's having a long run up at this, if it will be, if it is indeed going to be him. Might not be, he's pretending to be disinterested. And it was a good try from Hammy. Well, he always fancies his chances as well. And he does keep the ball down rather better than some we've seen at Euro 96. Went wide, here's Laudrup, the keeper off his line again. Laudrup round him, there are two in the middle, he's got to make it a measured cross. It's just beyond Anderson, and the keeper scrambles back onto his line. What was he doing out there in the first place? He came to meet Brian Laudrup, who just found the angle a little awkward. He was definitely onside, Brian Laudrup. The keeper has come an enormous distance. And then Brian Laudrup kept the ball in, but it was just too high for Anderson. Well, at least the game has picked up now in Denmark's quest for goals. And having got one, we're still under the hour mark, so 2-0 at that stage will be very interesting. Here it comes, floated in, headed out by Ogun. Abdul has got himself into bother here. There are a lot of red shirts around. And Helve will be into the area. He needs to pull it back. He does that. There's it's a side netting this time from Reaper. Well, chances presenting themselves for the big West Ham defender. He's already had a header cleared just off the line, and now he smacks it into the side netting. Mark Reaper without an international goal still. Nicely done. Here is Orhan. Alpay back on, as you noticed there. Making a good contribution as well. Turkish throwing. The confirmation there that Helve does miss the next game. Should Denmark be playing in one here? A couple of goals. Well, I can think about that. So certainly playing with much more fluency in this half. Tuka. Another more competent performance in the Turkish side. Tugay. Typhoon. They are playing a bit of a dangerous game with the likes of Brian Laudrup around. That's good. Tugay again. Typhoon. Well, they are having a go in this half, Turkey. That's the second or third shot they've had. Just missed by much. Larson will barge his way through and he'll be brought down, and that will certainly be a yellow for Typhoon. The second Turk to be cautioned today. That was worthy of it. Klaus Thompson now. Denmark trying to step on that accelerator pedal, and here goes Alan Nielsen, who's made a good contribution in this second half in particular, and does really well to keep the ball in. Turkey haven't panicked though. They've played some good football. And here is Tugay. Arif now. Forced by Reaper. Totally convincing. Arif has made a difference since he's come on. Denmark have 29 minutes left, which to perhaps get another couple of goals to give themselves any hope at all. 1-0 would not be good enough, I'm sure. Now Laudrup, and Laudrup's in here. Michael Laudrup just couldn't finish it. Turks getting bodies around when they had to do. Denmark continued to create chances, though, that they weren't doing earlier. And the pressure is intensifying. Remember, if Croatia and Portugal draw, they both go through. Croatia are through anyway. Now Larsson, who hovered around. Helveg just couldn't make a decent connection there, but the ball is conceded straight back to Nielsen. Lovely touch, Stein Nielsen. Henrik Larsson, who's playing his football back in Denmark these days after spells abroad. Yesu. Alan Nielsen. Yesu runs into the Turkish penalty zone. Denmark's throw. They don't have Schumberg to throw them in long this time, as they did in the first half. Thomas Helveg from Udinese. He'll throw it in there. And it's flicked away. Turkey surviving one or two little scares in this half, which they never had in the first 45 minutes. They're also breaking quite well themselves. It's a much better spectacle than it was. So that's a pretty dreadful cross from Hammer. Win today, Denmark will go on to the 4-point mark. And if Portugal lose, they too will be on 4 points. But at the moment, Denmark's goal difference is -2, Portugal's +1. Laudrup, scorer of that all-important first goal, just lifted the Danes' belief, and now Michael Laudrup, and here is Larsson. There are three in the middle. Henrik Larsson taking his time over the cross, but finally getting it in here for Nielsen. And acrobatically, he got in some sort of an effort from an angle. Didn't trouble the goalkeeper. Ogun running well here, coming forward a long way and determined to hit the shot in, which came back off Hu, and now leads the charge. 25 minutes left. Still just the one goal scored by this man. Brian Laudrup with his 13th international goal. Now he finds Stein Nielsen. The cross looks useful. Might be set up here for Bo Anderson. And the referee has awarded a free kick for the foot up, I think, and he's also going to speak here with Recep. Well, that's a curious decision. The ball was headed down there. What was the defender supposed to do? Well, that's a most extraordinary decision. And if Denmark score from this will be one of the controversies of Euro '96. Couldn't have been a push because it would have been a penalty. Now then, is there a second goal in the offing for Denmark to make it 2-0? Michael Laudrup on the ball. Larsson's in close proximity. Ryan Laudrup and Yesu could be involved. They've got to get through that Turkish wall, and Larsson failed to do that. Turks are about to make a double substitution. Well, that was a disappointment for the Danes. And Recep is one of those to be replaced by Bülent. And Safet is going to come on in place of Orhan. Safet does play up front, so maybe the Turks still have belief they can get a goal in this game. They've got all their 3 substitutes on now. (1-0) the score, but Denmark last showing some sort of aptitude. Even if they win, of course, they still have to await the outcome of the Croatia-Portugal game. I hope that Croatia have done the business. Here goes Laudrup now. Checks well inside his man, still Laudrup. Thought he might go down there, it's come through to Bo Anderson. Now Laudrup again. Dispossessed by Abdullah. It's found its way back to Laudrup for the umpteenth time. Helvey. Well, the Turks are not defending convincingly here at all at the moment, and this must be a great chance for Nielsen, who scores number 2. Alan Nielsen, with only his 2nd international goal. His first came inside 60 seconds of his debut, but this will be seen as a far more vital strike. The Turks were all over the place. Alan Nielsen was in space and stroked it effortlessly past the keeper, Rushdu. Beautifully taken. It's said that Sheffield Wednesday are keen on bringing him here to Hillsborough. He's perhaps just put something on his price. An injury for Klaus Thompson. 21 minutes left, and Denmark become the first side to breach the Turkish defence twice in these championships. Alan Nielsen, who's a real character, former Bayern Munich man, now back playing his football in Denmark, has got a priceless goal, and didn't he take it with some assurance? Thompson, the injured party. Denmark have so far brought on only Larsson, so they can make another substitution, whereas Turkey can't. Richard Muller-Nielsen just inquiring as to the gravity of the injury, as the ball is cleared to Anderson. Oh, good dispossession from Abdullah. Soon one back. You feel if Denmark had played with this sort of fire and tenacity in the first half, they might not have had as many problems as they've got. Goal difference now only -1. Schmeichel clears. You get the feeling that the Turkish defence could crumble. Safet with his first touch. The wide player is Tayfun. Thompson hobbles on. Laid back for Tugay. Good chip through to Safet. Safet, who started the last game, beaten away there by Thomas Helvey. Ola Nielsen, just hopeful that his side can at least win the match and they go out in a blaze of glory. Thompson prodded the ball forward first time, but might have to try and keep the rhythm and the momentum going now, having got those 2 goals. Turkey's throw to be taken by Ogun. Which away all through to Reaper. And then Anderson with the flick. Forward from Boulet. Schmeichel's got to be sure here. And header back to him from Helvig. Just in time. There goes Helvig. Minutes left at Hillsborough. Turkey 0, Denmark 2. That one broke down, but Turkey unable to take anything from it. Fans are cheering their team on now. They were bitterly disappointing in the defeat against Croatia. At least they've given themselves some hope today with those 2 goals, both in this half. Certainly would be interesting if they could make it 3-0. And they'd have 4 points and be level on goal difference. And if Portugal were to lose to Croatia, Denmark would go through rather than Portugal. Their classification. Safet, Ogun. The look of an anxious man. He loves football in England. He often comes across here to watch Premier League games. Loves the atmosphere of the English grounds. We'll see what he can do in the future with Finland. See if he can turn them into an international force. Laudrup, Nielsen. A quarter of an hour left. You've got to admire the fact that Denmark haven't gone hell for leather about their task today. It's been the usual cautious, deliberate build-up. No panic involved. It was clearance for Michael Laudrup. The Reaper lost the ball then, and so it's Turkey's turn to come, and there might be something for them here. He may have overrun it as well. He has. Well, that was a lapse in defence from Mark Reaper that led to the opening for Hami. From the outside of the defender, it was that touch there that betrayed him. So now, here goes Michael Laudrup. There's a lot of space opening up on the right, slips it through, Boarison can make it 3! Poor first touch again from him, and it just enabled Rushdu to put him off. It's a lovely ball to him from Laudrup. Denmark should have been 3 up, instead of which they defend themselves now. Can Turkey score a goal? That would change the complexion of the match again. Thompson's header out for the corner. And to their credit, the Turks are coming looking for their first goal of the championships, which would be a huge lift for Portugal if they got one. Here is the corner, away by Reaper. Only as far as Typhoon. Curled back in, Safet's header. In fact, Safet didn't get there, it's another Turkish corner. Arif will take it. Turkey 2 down. they still haven't got a goal. Long way wide from Alpay. One of the Besiktas players in the side. Minutes left for the Turkish manager, and then he hands over to whoever his successor might be. Not been announced as yet. Michael Laudrup and Stein Nielsen disputing which of them was going to have the ball. Anyway, it's now with Brian Laudrup, indisputably. Only 2 for him to aim at the moment, but he's got Larsson moving forward like a tank, and there is the cross, a little too deep, and I don't think Nielsen will even keep it in play. Thompson's header went straight to Safet. This is Ogun, and here's Safet, and it was just flicked away by Reaper. Just in time, too. Well, the Turks will go home. Much the better for the experience of having played in major championships, but with a record of played 3, lost 3. And no goals scored at the moment. 4 conceded, but here is Arif to try and change all that. Now they might suffer the consequences. This is Brian Laudrup. Now Michael, his elder brother. They find space superbly. Yes, who's got forward? And, wasn't a good enough pass from Huta Nielsen. And on the break, Turkey have 6 against 4 here. And it's Abdullah in possession. Oh, he just got it through for Arif. Arif's cross is dangerous, and Turkey have scored a goal. And now offside is going to be given against Safet. Well, there was momentary joy there for the Turks, who felt that they'd got their first goal of Euro '96 through Safet. Abdullah threaded the ball wide. It's knocked in here, and was he offside? Probably just. Schmeichel, with a valiant effort, went to his feet. Safet wrapped it into the roof of the Danish net. The goal does not stand. And Denmark is still alive. I don't think they would have been if that had gone in and counted. And we've got to hand it to the Turks. They're giving it a real go here. Oh, and Arif is barged over by Henrik Larsson. Yellow card for Larsson. That's frustration. Safet looked mortally aggrieved that his goal didn't count, so all that could make up for it now would be a legal strike. Ogun and Abdullah are poised. Can they beat Schmeichel? With 10 minutes left in the game, it's Abdullah, and it's a great stop. It was just curling wide, I fancy. Maybe Schmeichel didn't get a hand to it. Abdullah, little curler, was going wide. That's free kick in a position of some promise, midway inside the Turkish half. They've only 9 minutes left if they're going to get another goal. Elvi. Too short, just enabled Turkey to win the ball, and they come again. They're coming in droves. They're having some good moments, Turkey. Hammy with the shot over the top. Long way over too. Well, they can go back to their country and work on one aspect of their game in particular, the finishing. so there by Arif. Enables Ogun to get forward again. Here is Safet, and he turns well. Can't contrive a shooting position, but he is fouled by Stein Nielsen. Abdullah and Hami positioned around the ball. Both can strike the ball wickedly, and it looks like being Hami again, and he thumps it through. Good stop from Schmeichel, and he's kept the Turks at bay again. Well, Peter Schmeichel has made some outstanding stops throughout the 3 games that Denmark have played, and that was an excellent one because his vision must have been impaired. Abdullah now, maybe he can hit one from here. Lined up for Safet, offside again. Despite Schmeichel's save, it doesn't matter. 7 minutes to go at Hillsborough. Denmark lead 2-0 and prepare to bring on another striker in Soren Andersen. Here goes Brian Laudrup. Here goes Bo Anderson, and Bo Anderson might have teed up Laudrup for number 3. It is! And who else but Mr. Magic? Brian Laudrup's skill applauded richly on the terraces. 2 goals for him today, 3 now for Denmark, and the complexion of Group D changing by the minute. Anderson in position there, wriggled his way through to get the pass into Laudrup, who simply stroked it past Rushtu. His 3rd goal of Euro 96. Will it be good enough to keep Denmark in the championships? Took a deflection too, didn't it? 6 minutes to go. Turkey 0, Denmark 3. And how vital some of those shaves from Schmeichel might have been too. Arif's done well there. Battled so hard. And Schmeichel belts it downfield, where Bo Anderson will try and get onto the end of this. Abdullah. Oh, it's an absorbing contest now because of the state of play. The Turks giving it everything in the hunt for a goal to take back as a memory. 3-0 it is. Denmark's goal difference all square. Can Turkey get a goal for themselves? Not for the moment. Tayfun, Arif. He's done well since he's come on. But straight into Schmeichel. The ploy is simple. Crack it up here to Laudrup. One-on-one here. Well, a hat-trick for Brian Laudrup really would be something. He's got the free kick out of Vedat. 4 minutes to go. It was such a shame to see Denmark go out for the likes of Brian Laudrup, obviously. They've thrown 4 of their tallest men in here to try and get on the end of this, and it's clutched by Rushtu. Well, at half-time, everybody was saying how disappointing the game was. Now everybody wants it to carry on. Safet. Rather tired effort. Abdullah's battled really well for the Turks. No foul. Red shirts breaking numbers again. Here is surely the man of the match, Brian Laudrup. On he goes, past 1, slips it in here to Nielsen. Wide is Brian Stein Nielsen. The deep cross here towards Bo Anderson. And a foul from him. And that will enable Denmark to make their last substitution. And he's only got 3 minutes in which to make his mark when he comes on. Søren Andersen will replace Erik Bo Andersen. Can he become a hero in 3 minutes? That would be another fairy tale, wouldn't it? Søren Andersen from Aalborg scored 7 goals in the last month of the season to win himself inclusion in the squad. Safat. Too many there for him. Nielsen hacks it long. Not to anybody in a red shirt. Now Rushdu. Abdullah. 2 minutes to go. The drift out here to Arif, who does well to keep the ball in play. Schmeichel missed the punch completely. Everybody in the ground would like to see Denmark get a corner and Schmeichel go up for it. 3-0 the score. Alpay for Turkey. Big powerful man drifts the ball across. Schmeichel claims it, and again he'll thump it downfield where the keeper's come a mile off his line. It could go over the top of him, but he's handled the ball. No, he simply cannot do that. And this has got to be at least a yellow card for the goalkeeper. It is a yellow, and I think he's very fortunate, to be honest. A lot of referees would surely have reached for the red and sent Mr. Rushdu off. He was anticipating Schmeichel's clearance. Could have bounced over him and all the way into the net, but it's a free kick for Denmark, who lead 3-0, who'd like a 4th goal to boost their goals tally. There's a 5-man Turkish wall confronting Brian Laudrup here. And there is Laudrup, and it flicked off a head, surely. Corner. Just tried to curl it over, and it came off Safat. So is there a sting in the tail in this group even now? The next corner just over Reaper. To come for Steen Nielsen. Turks break smartly for Tugay to belt that ball long, and this time it's Schmeichel out of his goal. He waits for Søren Andersen to get into position. Time added on at Hillsborough. Denmark leading 3-0. We'll have 4 points. Then they'll have to find out how Portugal and Croatia have fared this afternoon. Free kick for Denmark again. Turkey have been left hanging on a little bit, and yet at times they've threatened a goal for themselves. Certainly not all been one way. Nielsen. Nielsen, there are 3 in the middle calling for it. Here's Reaper, and he's onside, and he got the chance to knock the header back, but in fact the referee says that's it, and Denmark end with a win, but will it be enough? 3-0 is the scoreline. 2 magnificent goals for Brian Laudrup, 1 for Alan Nielsen. Schmeichel again, one of the stars of the show. He made some superb stops when Turkey threatened to get a goal for themselves in the second half, but they go home without a goal or a point. Denmark win at Hillsborough by 3-0, mainly thanks to this man Brian Laudrup, and another marvellous performance from him. Turkey 0, Denmark 3.